It's Christmas season, y'all. In other words, for the elk hunter in you or in your life, 'tis the season to get ready for next season. Ho, 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 ho. This right here might be one episode to forward to those loved ones, because me and the boys are each going to talk about 3 or 4 of our favorite things for gifts, and we'll create a list of stocking stuffers as well. Some favorite items and others that we have our eyes on. Some wants, needs, things that could make our hunt safer or even more prepared, or just flat out more comfortable, because y'all, Big O likes his comfort. So whether you're a new aspiring elk hunter or a grizzled old fart like Joe, these are some of the things that we love and we recommend for Christmas. That discussion, our ElkBros shout outs, and questions from our ElkBros mailbox. So my friends, pull up a chair, adjust your volumes just right, and welcome to Blue Collar Elk Hunting.
Welcome to Blue Collar Elk Hunting, brought to you by ElkBros.com, with your hosts Gilbert Ornelas and elk hunting coach Joe Gilly. You want to hunt elk, and they live to hunt elk. Their goal is to share with you what they have learned grinding it out for over 30,000 seasons, doing what they love. So come on into camp and set a spell. Welcome to Blue Collar Elk Hunters.
Hello there, everyone. If it's your first time with us, glad to have you. Hope you enjoy the show. And as always, for our blue collar hunters following our show and grinding it out with us every week, welcome back to Elk Camp. I'm Gilbert Ornelas, coming to you from an undisclosed location, but you can see the animals behind me if you can figure it out. And joining us today, that's right, we've got the legend in the house, Mr. R.C. Knox. We got the bow hitch man himself, Mr. Armando Martinez. And that's right, we got the man with the golden voice, the owner of the Western Contours podcast and Western Fly Covers. If you don't have a poncho, you need one, from Mr. Guy Duplanches in the house. And that's right, Mr. Joe Gilly. We got it teed up and we're ready to talk tonight, fellas. What's going on, guys?
Merry Christmas, boys.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
Hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, man.
Oh, yeah.
By the time this comes out, folks are always scrambling for gift ideas. And I don't know about y'all, man. It's like we're online and there's this list and that list and all of this stuff to go out there. And I was like, because if y'all like me, everybody knows I'm a hunter, right? In the family. And so they try. They really, really try. So if it's something camouflage, you get it, right? Yep. It's like, and there's certain things you don't want camouflage. You don't want a camouflage wallet.
No, because you lose it.
You just lose that thing, man. You don't want a camouflage flashlight. You don't want,
rangefinder.
No.
And one year, and this is some years ago, they really tried, and really, we were hunting in cold weather, and they bought me this full one-piece camouflage jumpsuit, right? So I was like, all right, cool. It was, we're boy po back then. So I was like, cool, I got it, and it's cold outside. I wore that thing. And I had a deer, and I was stalking up on this deer, and I was on my knees, and I got all the way in about 28 yards, and the deer's turning the other way, and I go up to go and draw, and I go, my arms, because of, that full suit there, I could not get my arms, the armpits locked in from that full jumpsuit, and I couldn't get my arms up to draw, dude. It was the
my gosh.
First and last time, man.
No onesies anymore.
No onesies.
No
No.
coveralls. I never tried to hunt my coveralls and bow hunt my coveralls. I gun hunted a bunch of them.
Well, if you're standing and stuff, it's not bad because you go up, your waist goes up and down, the britches go up and down. But as soon as you sit down in them puppies, what you got is all you're going to get.
And when Mother Nature calls, they're not very friendly.
No, that's true too. Yeah. I mean, they're great. I used them for years getting under the house to do the work because it kind of kept all the dirt and everything out. But yeah, so it's such a good idea to do something like this because we got new and aspiring elk hunters out there. We got people that have been hunting for years out there, and maybe they're going to hear something that we like, that we use, that and go, oh, you know, and I do it all the time. I always, you know, I hunt. This is going to be my, 43rd season or something like that. And I hear stuff from you guys all the time. I mean, shoot, I just found the bow hitch. What's it been now, y'all? 3 years? 3 years ago?
I think it's about 3. Yeah, when you
Mondo,
first
y'all
got
been
it
out
that
for 3
first
years.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is year 5, man.
And here's another thing. So for me, I've always been a scent freak, right? And so whenever I'd go on a 7-day elk hunt, I basically had to have chones for 7 days. I had to have a shirt for every day. I had to have britches for every day. You know, a big old tub of clothes. And I go out this year on a 10-day elk hunt with my big old tub of clothes, and I'm wearing this doggone merino stuff and all of that, and I didn't need none of them clothes down there. It just changed the game. So there's a lot of stuff out there that in all kinds of areas, man, that are new things that come out that can make you more comfortable, that can change the game, that, you know, I'll tell you this, I've looked at clothes in the past, and I've been like, I look at some of these performance clothes and you're like, man, I can't pay that much for that. But when you start thinking that one shirt actually replaces 5, you know what I mean?
Or 7.
Yeah, it changes things. So I thought it'd be great if we just talked about, you know, some of the things, and each of us has things that we like or things that, you know, and I said we'll kind of keep it at 3. If we don't get the other guys, we might go a little bit more on that. So we want to do kind of like main gift type things that somebody might be looking into. It might be an item, and then we'll start talking about them stocking stuffers.
Joe, we'd be remiss though. We have the man, Armando Martinez, here with us today. Mondo's here. You see it in the background, bow hitch. If you're a bow hunter and you're hunting out west or anywhere and you don't have a bow hitch, you're absolutely missing out on the greatest innovation that I've seen in bow hunting in many, many years, man. It is an absolute game changer. And I think everybody for Christmas that's a bow hunter ought to have one, for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. I mean, that's like the stuff that guy in Western Fly are doing. And we're going to talk about all that stuff later on there. And I mean, a lot of cool things going on, and some things that you guys might not, you know, even my guys here might not have ever thought to talk about this. I mean, I actually got a gift this last year from my daughters that I took into elk camp, and it was a game changer, and I'll be talking about that, and which really blew me away. I thought that was really cool. That we're going to go to the ElkBros mailbox, man, and this is from our buddy Tracy Henry out of Utah. Tracy has been following the bros for a long time. He makes custom knives. He's donated knives to some of our giveaways. He's just an incredible human being. And Tracy went, when I first talked to him a couple years ago, went through an incredible transformation of really changing what he could do, losing weight, getting up and walking, going and lifting, you know, doing those things and really getting himself out in the elk woods. So just a tremendous person. And he sent this question in that says, can you guys talk about what to do if someone has a bad shot? How long do we wait? So it opens up kind of a Pandora's box there. So I'm going to let y'all start out with it. Anybody want to jump on that?
How long do we wait? How bad was the shot?
Yeah, I mean, that's a broad subject. What'd your arrow look like? You know, did you have a luminol? Did you see where the arrow went?
Did you smell punch on the arrow?
Right.
Number one, you got to determine what kind of hit is. If it's a gut shot, if it's a liver shot, if it's just a muscle shot, you know, you got to really do some things to check out and find out really what kind of hit you got there. So I think that's when he says, you know, it's a bad shot. First thing we got to do is determine what kind of bad shot it is, right? And in what ways can a person determine that, y'all?
My ways arrow looks, smells.
Smell of the arrow, color of the blood, bubble in the blood.
You feel that
blood.
liver grit on there. It'll be really dark red blood. Those are the things that you look for. And when you find that, if you find that on your arrow, any paunch smell, any liver grit, that liver has a lot of grit in it. And if you hit the hepatic artery in the liver, it's going to be a lot of red blood, right? But it's going to be really dark red, and it'll have some grit on it. So when you get that, it's time to back out, fellas. And I mean, back out for a while.
Can you catch one lung and it still be a bad hit?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. He'll live with one lung for weeks.
Yeah.
And then how long do we wait, right? I mean, that
liver hits 10 hours.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the temperature outside, right? I mean, if it's, like right now here, I think we're, 7 to 10 degrees. If it's 10 degrees, shit, I'll let them sit until tomorrow, midday tomorrow, and not worry about it. But if we know we're 70s in the days and high 50s, 60s, something like that at night, man, I'm gonna be, I'm being a little bit of a panic, but 4 to 6 hours isn't really a stretch to think, if it's a bad hit, all the above, unless you see them, drop with that double lung. It feels like a lifetime, but 4, 6, 7, 8 hours, man, it's not, it ain't a bad idea. Cause you bump them, chances are you ain't going to find them, especially if they bedded down sick. Yeah. That'll be it. So
especially if you hit them in the evening, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the longer you can wait, the better you are.
It's been my experience. I've never gone past 200 yards on a double lung elk. I mean, you're just not going to go that far. If you've went 400 or 500 yards and you thought you hit them good, you didn't.
So here's an interesting thing on that, though. I've seen a ton of hits. Guiding elk hunters, we get an opportunity to see so many hits over all these years. And in 30 years, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, man. I've seen somebody shoot an elk in the pocket, quartering away, and that arrow end up turning and coming out the potch on the other side. I've seen stuff like that. But I've also seen, I had a hunter that shot a frontal, hit the pumper, elk ran down the hill, up the other side of the hill, 400 yards. And I mean, like you talk about a blood trail, 400 yards, dude, before he went down, just because his adrenaline got going. And, because even though he was pumping blood and stuff, it wasn't like lungs. You double lung an animal, they just can't breathe.
They can't go. They can't.
Yeah, as long as you get those two holes, right? If you end up with one side plugged, or you end up an arrow in there plugging it up, then they can go a lot further. But when you're talking about a bad hit, generally when I hear somebody talk about a bad hit, I'm thinking gut shot, I'm thinking liver shot, or I'm thinking no man's land or brisket or something like that, right? Yeah.
Or a harder angle. That's one of the big mistakes, right? Is he was perfectly broadside. No, but that thing was angled hard. That was hard quartering too, so I think a lot of that has to do with it, man, is that angle of that arrow too.
100%.
I put him in that. I put it right center line the body, 3 to 4 inches behind the crease. And hard quartering too, man.
Yeah, and it come out his hip.
Or even hard quartering away. You have hard quartering away, and people will shoot for that 12 ring like they do on a 3D target.
Comes out the chest.
Ends up coming out the chest and missing the lung over there. We've had that happen. You might get one lung on there, but it's going to miss the other one. So, but when we take a look to answer and to help Tracy out, man, like let's say that you don't hear any of that hollow boom boom that you hear when it hits the lungs. You just get that quick arrow that goes through both sides because you've paunch hit that sucker, man. You get that, that shot that just goes through there. And you go and you find your arrow. It has a little bit of look of blood on it, but mainly you see in that liquid, you smell it, you can smell paunch. How long are you waiting on that paunch hit?
24 hours.
I would agree with Gil. I mean, if it's straight punch, I'm going a day. Again, I may press it, right? Temperature.
Depending on the weather,
I don't want to waste it. I shot it. I got a duty to try and find it. But yeah, if I can wait, I'm waiting.
If you bump him, you'll never find him. But if you let him lay down, he's going to get peritonitis, and it's going to be a tough deal for him. But he'll lay there. And the only thing that can happen is a coyote get him up, a bear get him up or something like that. That could be really unlucky. But at the end of the day, I mean, my first bull I ever put my hands on, it took us, it was a good 16, 17 hours. And that sucker wasn't even stiff when we got up to him the next morning at 7 in the morning.
If you shoot an elk with a mechanical broadhead, you never lose them.
Man, boy, somebody just started opening Pandora's box.
Oh my God!
I
What planet are you from anyway?
I was like,
Just some people like to come in and just cause problems, don't they?
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody on here that shoots a mechanical.
Can you turn him off? I mean, just delete him.
Commute him.
Can you delete him?
And Tracy, I'm going to tell you this too, man. Sometimes there's mitigating circumstances that change things like that. If you got a rainstorm coming in, man, I mean, sometimes things like that make you have to follow what you have immediately like that. But if you can wait on it, you're with a punch, you're a minimum of 12 hours. And like Gil said, man, the longer you can give that peritonitis, man, that for that critter to go septic sometimes can be 36 hours, man. That bull I talked about, it actually got partial lung, came out the gut. Now, the thing that you engage with that is a lot of times you can tell how far they're going to go. Like, when they get something like that, they're going to be a minimum of, they're going to be probably about under a half mile away from where you hit it. You can probably gauge how far they're going to go each time. Like, when you get a one that's liver shot, if you let it lie down, it'll want to lie down right away.
Right away.
Yeah. Where that gut shot, that animal might end up walking some, but it's generally going to be within a half mile. So that's a tough one there. And, if you get a hit and you don't know how good it is, like on a lung shot or something like that, you're an hour or 2 hours waiting because you don't know if you're not sure about that. And you go and you check the blood and you're not sure about that blood. That's happened to us. It just is something that can, you think you got a good shot and it's not quite, right?
I hit a whitetail about 3 years ago, Joe. I hit him it was kind of quartering to me just a little bit. And when I hit him, that arrow actually turned and went out through the liver, got the first lung and then got the liver. Well, when I went down and looked at the blood trail, it was great. Had a great blood trail for about 120 yards. And I went, this ain't good. This, I know better. I should have stumbled over him already, And then I looked at my arrow and it had that grit on it. It was real dark red blood with a little bit. Every now and then you could tell where he put his nose on the ground and he'd cough a little bit of that blood up, right? It had a little bit of bubble to it, but the majority of the blood was really dark red and there was a lot of grit on the arrow. So I knew I had a liver shot. So I didn't want to push him any further. And I knew if I kept going, I was going to jump him out of his first bed. So I just backed out of there. I waited 8.5 hours.
Yeah.
And he was still alive when I found him, but he was really sick.
Yeah.
Right. But I had to put another arrow in him to anchor him. And he stood up. I would have never known that he was there. I actually walked past him and I heard something just kind of moved to my left, and I looked over to the left, and he was maybe 30 feet from me, standing in a mesquite bush he'd bedded down in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I got my bow with me, so I just drew back. He never moved, and I center punched him that time. He went down right there, but again, had I pushed him when he was green, never found that deer. He crossed the river, and I'd have never found him.
And I'm usually a minimum of 4 to 6 on a liver shot, and I tend towards the 6 if I can do that. And generally, when they're hit in a liver shot like that, when they go lay down, especially if it's hot, they're going to look for shade anyway.
Yes.
So the only thing that
Shade
can
and water.
happen, the only thing that can happen though with that is sometimes they get in the shade, and then the sun ends up moving and end up in the sunlight. And that one bull that I killed, and we had to go back and get stuff, and we got to it and the sun hit it, man. It can start to separate that skin up, really quick if that sun gets on it. So you're thinking, liver shot 4 to 6, you're thinking gut shot anywhere 12 to 24, right? And there's always
for me it's 8 to 10 on liver for me.
Really?
I just have seen too many of them alive after 6 hours. You know, on our ranch here in South Texas, if we shoot a buck and we don't recover him, we have to bring a dog in. And I mean, especially our trophy deer. So when we bring the dog in, you know, the dog don't miss. They're gonna get on him, and he'll tell you whether that deer's too hot or not. I mean, the dog's gonna get him. I've had deer that we've tracked for some of our guys here with dogs that were liver shot and gut shot, and they were still alive after 11 hours. And
Right.
I mean, fighting a dog like fighting two big dogs, man. Like they were nothing wrong. So the liver shot is something, if you don't hit the hepatic artery, it's going to take them a long time to die.
RC, what have been your rules, man?
Same as everybody else. I mean, 24 hours for a gut. That's why I said you got to check that arrow to see what it looks like. I've seen a hump shot where it took the bull completely down and he was laying on his side, and we went congratulating and went up there, and bull got up and we never did see him again. Basically what it did is it spined him long enough for him to catch his breath, but
and the thing is too, like when you have something like that, the thing we tell you is you got to re-hunt that animal. If you got a liver shot, you have a gut shot, you have to re-hunt that animal. And when you're in, you got to really be aware. You got to be looking off to the side. You got to, man. And you got to be stealthy.
It's like hunting him.
Yeah. I was going to say, you got to be
ready. You can't go in there with the wind up your tail.
No way.
Yeah.
You get your head down so far in the weeds, man, and that sucker pops up on the top of them. You better be ready.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what catches a lot of folks off guard with it.
We were with Waddell hunting in Colorado when he hit a bull that was liver shot, and it was early that morning, and that bull still was working cows later on in the day, liver shot, and a liver shot can be all kinds of hits on it. It kind of depends on how much you get it, right? And finally we picked up blood again late in that afternoon. Chance did over there and worked his butt off to do that. And what a lot of people don't know about Michael is Michael's colorblind, so he can't see the blood on the ground, man. So what he would do is, while people were tracking, is he'd kind of pay attention to how the tracking was going, stay off to the side and be looking forward. And I told him be ready with an arrow, and sure enough, that bull was still up, and he got another second arrow into it to finish it off on there. But that was, man, from that morning till that afternoon, you're probably looking 10, 11 hours, man, so.
He still wasn't dead.
Yeah, still wasn't dead. All right.
He just never did get the artery in the liver.
Yep. So I hope that helps you out some there. Yeah, you gonna say something?
Yeah. Just a few things that you guys did mention, but just want to kind of re-clarify because they weren't said specifically. Like, you have to hunt the animal. So just because we're saying it's this amount of hours or that amount of hours, you have to take into consideration the time of the day. Like they mentioned, what the wind is doing. Is there a storm coming in? And so if you shoot them at daybreak or even before the sun comes up and you say, oh, dude, I gave him 3 hours, I gave him 4 hours, whatever it is. If the thermals haven't, become consistent yet, you really can't effectively hunt that animal. Like, you would never go after that animal like if he was in his bed. So if that's not right, give yourself another half hour, give yourself another hour just to make sure that you're not going to bump him. So your head on a swivel. If you can, you'll see the path he's on. Maybe you walk downwind of him 30, 50, 100 yards and glass into that area or look into that area just to make sure he's not below. And then as the wind gets better, you could get back on his tracks, and then, it just changes things. So just there's not a specific time, in my opinion, but it's typically longer than you think. So we always want to say, okay, I've been waiting an hour. Okay, let's wait a little bit longer. Like, if he's dead, he's dead. If he's not dead, you have a chance of bumping him. So just keep that in mind as you're chomping at the bit and say, Joe said or Gilbert said, I can go at this time. Like, if you don't feel good about it and you're not seeing the sign on the ground that you think you should be seeing.
Did we lose him?
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's still talking. Mouth is running.
Yeah, we lost your audio there, Mondo. I'm not sure why. Mondo, go out and come back in, because he was making an incredibly good point, man. And one thing that I want to tell you too is using Onyx and tracking yourself while you're doing it.
Very good too.
If you're gonna back out, you better be dropping waypoints.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Because
sir.
you can also use it so that if you
Great search.
lose blood, and it happens a lot, man, you can actually see the direction and how you're moving and how that animal's moving, and it'll help you to find them and pick them up again. So that's something that is real critical, man.
And always remember that a lot of these animals will double back.
Yeah.
They really will. They know where they came from was a really safe place from where they came from. They'll just get out there and get the wind, and they'll double back on you.
Yep, absolutely, man.
Especially a gut shot or liver shot, because they want to go to water. When they get a fever, they're going to want to get some water. So if there's a river or a pond close by, just if you lose the trail, just be mindful of that, especially on a liver or a gut shot. Guys, you know what time it is? It's time for the ElkBros shout-outs. If you're new to our show, this is a shout-out to our listeners. With the most listeners topping our charts this week, Joe.
Yep. Hey, guys, and we're sorry, man. It seems like today we're having a lot of technical difficulties. I don't know if it's internet for all of us or what, but please bear with us, man. We're trying to do the best we can for you. And on the shout-outs, man, this top listening city is also considered one of the most haunted towns in America. And is the home. Hey, so Gil, it should have been yours, man. You should have done this one, man. We're gonna find this
on there, Joe.
We're gonna get you a first-rate ticket to this place, Gil, man. And it is the home of the tallest man. Robert Wadlow, the Alton Giant, was the tallest man in recorded history, standing 8 feet 11 inches. A life-size statue of him is located in the town in Alton, Illinois.
Alton, Illinois.
Wow.
Never been there.
8 feet 11 inches. This dude was an inch off of 9 feet tall.
1 inch off 9 foot, man.
They couldn't have fudged that, man. That's straight up. I'm a 9-footer, right?
Hey, this is a day in history. I mean, you heard Gil say, "I have never been there." I mean, we should have taken that. I mean, that is unbelievable.
I've never been to Alton, baby.
Oh, you know why? Because it's haunted.
It's
ain't going. Ain't going.
He don't do hated.
No,
it don't take much for it to be haunted for this film.
No.
no way.
Gil, why don't you take the next one, bro?
I sure will, brother. Often considered the most isolated capital, top listening city in the world, with the nearest major city, Adelaide, over 1,300 miles away. The Noongar people, the traditional custodians of the region, have lived in the area for over 40,000 years. One of the oldest continuously existing cultures on Earth. In Perth, Australia.
Perth, Australia.
Are you serious?
Cool, man.
Oh my gosh.
So cool. The new parent company that I work for, SciDev Ltd, they're out of Australia. So
really,
they're out of Sydney, but yeah, Australian company.
So first of all, to our Aussies out there, man, thank you for listening.
Man.
Awesome.
And all I want to do is Manana and Luis cannot say that I'm old anymore, because these folks are like 40,000 years old.
40,000 years old. Their cultures are really cool over there with the indigenous people.
Well, I thought we were rural, man. It takes us, let's see, we're an hour and a half from a Walmart here in Cimarron, but these folks are 1,300 miles away.
1,300 miles.
That's like
from
here to LA.
Yeah, really.
Well, Armando, you've been in my country here lately, man. It's a little isolated, isn't it?
Hey, yeah, I packed before I went. Yeah, I packed well. Don't worry.
When I got married, I had a buddy that said, "What's the closest town with an airport, man? Can I just fly in and then drive over to?" And I was like, "Ain't happening."
Nope.
Yeah. He's like,
It
you
would be
don't have
Santa Fe, huh, Joe, or Kirk? Maybe Trinidad.
if we well we can go to Vegas too. Vegas is an hour and 15 over there. Taos is an hour and 15. Trinidad's an hour and 15. Everything's like an hour and a half away. So
The geographic latitude, hour 15 from everywhere.
yeah.
All right, guys. Known as the Jewel of the North, situated near Lesser Slave Lake, one of Alberta's largest and most beautiful lakes. The Cree have rich traditions and oral histories tied to the land and the lake. Slave Lake, Alberta, Canada.
Slave Lake.
Sweet, but it's to the north.
Yep. Canada,
That's way
Alberta,
cool.
Canada.
Yeah, shout out to
Hunted
those guys. I have right here. Actually,
Hunted there last year.
when you guys went up there, shout out.
Oh, wow.
Challenge-
Check it out. They sent that back
Yeah,
to you.
challenge coin, Grand Prairie Firefighters Association. So,
Oh
That's
my
so
yeah,
cool, man.
that's so cool.
Yes.
So I'm
So,
super blessed to have that. So shout out to those guys, man.
Yes.
I keep this with me here in the office.
That's
The
so
Hunt Ready
awesome.
guys sent that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool.
Who sent that to you?
The guy that runs the Hunt Ready stuff, that you've been talking to about all the working out and stuff like that. I'm trying.
Oh, that's
Luis,
awesome.
Oh yeah.
Luis hunted with him.
Mhm. Yes.
Very
Yes.
awesome, man. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Our last top listening city is located near the site of North Carolina's gold rush. The first gold rush in the United States, which started in 1799 at Reed Gold Mine. This city also claims to be the birthplace of Andrew Jackson, the 7th president of the United States. Though neighboring South Carolina also contests its claim, Waxhaw, North Carolina.
Wow. North Carolina in the house, man. So look at there, man. We went through Illinois, Australia, back to Canada, and out to North Carolina.
Very cool.
That's very cool, man.
What are we fixing to do next, guy?
Main content.
Main content.
What
That's right.
I'm curious because I thought didn't Australia get hit with some restrictions to bow hunting, or they banned it or something down there?
What?
I thought
Really?
last year or this year, yeah.
No,
Wow.
no,
So as of December 1st, 2024, bows and crossbows are banned for hunting animals under Section 66 of the National Parks and Wildlife Act in South Okay, so it's South Australia.
South Australia. Where are they?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, y'all. It's Christmas time. It's counting down. You see Christmas lists all over the internet. Gift for him, for her, for techies, for millennials, for teens. List after list after list. Well, y'all, we're going to give you our first ever 2024 list for that elk hunter in your life, or even better, for yourself. Me and the boys are going to talk about 3 of our favorite things, maybe even a little bit more, that we use and love, or newer versions of those things that we're looking at ourselves. Because I know, man, I've already seen one of the things on Guy's list there, so I know that's something he's looking at. Then we're going to work on some stocking stuffers, and just to make sure you guys have as merry a Christmas as possible. And to start us off with what we know will be 3 amazing items due to his magnificent taste and knowledge. It's the man everyone wants to get hitched to, or is that a hitch from? Mr. Armando Martinez, man.
Tonight, boy.
Yeah, thank you guys. No, I appreciate you. Appreciate the love. I'm just grateful to all of you for giving the bow hitch a shot, because if that never happened, I met Joe at Hit or Miss. If he didn't say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm willing to give this a shot. You guys never would have been a part of it, never would have been able to benefit from it, without it coming around probably a second or a third time until you saw it. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for that, for giving me a chance, and for seeing really the value that the bow hitch has to offer. And I just wanted to thank you guys, before I go on with my list, because the bow hitch, I already have one, so it's not on my list.
And why? and Mondo, why do we have a bow hitch?
Because carrying your bow sucks.
Exactly. Because carrying your bow sucks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, my list is a little different. I've been hunting a lot. I've been guiding for a while, and I've been fortunate to stack up some quality products over the course of my career. And so right now, I'm going to mention a few of the smaller things that I've come to really love and appreciate that I've been using for the last maybe 5 years that help my my hunts be a little more comfortable and a little more enjoyable.
And
So,
Mondo, I hate to interrupt you. I want to tell everybody too.
yes, sir.
When we're done, if you guys make sure that you text me or email me your list with where to find it, you know, so I have the name.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'm going to put all of our items in, you know, in the notes of our show. Okay.
Copy that.
Sounds
Copy
good.
that. Cool. So my list is gonna the three things that I picked, and these are in no particular order, but the first one is a Louis L'Amour book. So I'm from New Mexico. I always have a Louis L'Amour in my backpack, and you know, you're sitting on a ridge, you're sitting at a water hole, you're waiting out an animal. We talked about a bad shot earlier. If you got 4 hours to kill, you got 6 hours to kill, you could probably go through this book. But it's not your phone. Get away from your phone. Like, I don't like reading on my phone. I don't like using it. It's different. Get a hardback $3 book you can get on eBay and find a used one. Most of, like, think probably 95% of my Louis L'Amours are used. Some of them are from, you know, the 70s. It's really cool to buy these old books off of, you know, the thrift stores or wherever I find them. And, they're just fantastic stories of an amazing storyteller that puts you in a situation. And when you're out there in the woods, sometimes you're going to look around and you're going to say, shit, this sounds like that story I just listened to, or this is kind of like the canyon he just described, or, you know, maybe he was hiding up in that cave up there. And it's really cool. So I personally very much enjoy a lightweight, you know, paperback Louis L'Amour book to have in my pack with me at all times. So I really enjoy that. If you guys ever find a water hole that I've hunted before, when I'm done with the book, I leave it in a plastic bag and I put it at the tank or wherever I'm at. So hopefully maybe someday, you know, somebody will find it and read it while they're there.
Oh, that's real cool, dude. Because, you know, it's funny. I hated to read as a kid, and
Me too. Yeah.
and we were traveling. I was about 12 years old. And we were traveling with another family, and one of the guys in that family, I think he was about 2 years older than me. The whole time we were traveling, he is reading a book the whole time we're going, man. And I mean, we're like on a 4-hour trip. I finally asked him, I said, "What are you reading, man, like that?" And he said, it's Louis L'Amour." And he said, "You ought to check this." And he gives me one of them. It was the first book I ever read, was a Louis L'Amour book. And listen, you guys that are listening out there, guys or gals, if you go ahead and email me, joe@elkbros.com, and say, and tell me I would like a Louis L'Amour book, what I'll do is I've got a whole stack of them in here, and what we'll do is we'll put those names in and we'll draw and send somebody a Louis L'Amour book, okay? And it's not all, they're not all Westerns. He was amazing at some of the stuff, you know, when you think about The Walking Drum is one of his that is just fantastic, that takes place in Europe, in medieval Europe and stuff. So incredible writer, incredible book. I'm right with you on that.
Yeah. So I really dig those. That's one of the things on my list. So if you guys are, you know, budget conscious and you want to get something that this person could have with them for a while, you can buy one book or you can buy a series. Sometimes these books are written in series. So it's just a really neat, different gift that I think will be appreciated for and handed down. So super cool gift, something different than probably most people were thinking to hear on this.
Yeah, sounds awesome, man.
So that's number one. The second thing that I've come to use probably about the last 10 years is trekking poles. So it doesn't even have to be a quality set, but typically you get what you pay for. So get yourself some trekking poles, put them in your backpack. The lighter, the better, because you don't know that they're there. However, when you're packing out an animal, when you're traversing, you know, uphill or downhill, this is going to save your knees. And this is going to save, actually, like for me, I feel it in my core when I'm walking, like through some blowdown or through some super rocky terrain. Your accessory muscles in your core and your hips and everything else isn't getting used quite as much because you're tensing up to keep your balance. You can use these trekking poles to just help you trudge along. So, I mean, for me, they've been an enormous help in helping me and my body stay on the mountain more efficiently and not worried about it's very, very much very safe. You know, I don't know how many times it saved me from falling at some rocks or into a cactus or just falling in general. You never know how you're going to land. So I've been saved literally hundreds of times from falling by just catching myself on a trekking pole. So I really dig those.
It's like being in four-wheel drive when you have trekking poles, man.
It really is. The leverage you have is totally different than just walking without them.
Does anybody have any brands that, or any specific type of poles that you really like over others, or?
I mean, honestly, they're all what and what, you know, the benefit of having something in the hunting industry like Peaks or Sissy Stix as they were when they first came out is, you know, 400s by hunters type deal. So I'd go with the Sissy Stix, but you know, for a while we were using the REI, just carbon trekking poles, like $120, $130. The biggest plus with them, in my opinion, is the 30% reduction in you know, weight carry and fatigue. I mean, that's, you know, and that's not me throwing a number at it. That is what it is.
That's fact.
Actual.
Yeah.
That's actual.
So it's huge, man. I agree with that one wholeheartedly.
I run Sissy Stix also. That's the one that I keep in my personal backpack. And then I have 2 pack frames that I always have at the truck. And each one of those just has, I think one set was from Costco and one from Walmart. And when you're packing out a bull, it doesn't matter what kind you got. It's
not as long as they work.
It's just nice to have them.
Yeah. Watch the lighter aluminums though. Those lighter aluminums. If you take a little bit of a trip and you put that sucker down, I've seen them bend and collapse. So you know.
Good point.
Yep. That's so that's number 2. I really enjoy those. And Guy, I'm glad you're on here with us tonight because number 3, the Western Fly, the Pursuit Poncho, bro. I was a Sitka believer, and I have a ton of Sitka clothes, and I've been phasing out of them. I've been getting into 2.0. I just got some Browning clothes that I'm, you know, really, really enjoying. But your poncho, hands down, dude. I don't even carry rain gear anymore. I strictly carry that. You could protect your gear. You could keep your backpack under it. You can keep your bow under it. You can move, you could put it on in a minute, you can take it off in a minute, and you're not sweating. Like for me, you know, it's already humid because it's raining or gonna rain. They don't breathe if you're wearing traditional rain gear, even though this, you know, super high-end stuff, it still doesn't breathe the way you want it to. So you're gonna be hot, you can't hike in it. Your Pursuit Poncho, the hood, I know you took a lot of time to master it. The fit of the right, Gil? The fit of the hood is just
the bomb.
All the way to the brim of your cap, man. All the way to
the I don't have another garment with a hood that is nearly as nice as yours. And we were guiding the guys from Browning this weekend, and they developed a new jacket. And I brought out your poncho and said, if you guys want to improve this jacket, this is what you do. You make the hood like this poncho, because this is the way a hood should work.
You can't give up my funk. You gotta give them my design, man.
Hey,
they gonna buy that. They gonna buy that. He was look. I love Mondo, and he was on a roll to that point right there. I'm coming after you, Browning. Don't let me see my mother hood.
You nailed it, bro. You nailed it.
Yeah.
And
the other part is the front zip on that, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
it's crazy cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually do things.
Joe needs it so he can get his big old head in there.
Well, the boots, we'll talk about boots later there, Ogre Feet, but but with that front zip, a lot of times I don't even, man, because I'm holding my gear, I'm holding my bow underneath of my poncho, and I mean, I can actually unzip from the inside and work a phone, you know, if I need to, and look at it where I'm at, and everything's covered because that hood comes all the way out. You're right, dude. I mean, and what's so great about the poncho is it's right on underneath on the backside underneath my pack. I reach back, snap, boom, and I am covered in seconds. And you know how New Mexico storms are; they go through I pop it off, shake it out, fold, put it on the bottom of my pack. Nothing on my pack gets wet. It's just that quick and easy, man. So it's gold. It's solid gold, right?
Noxie, it was killer in Colorado, wasn't it?
Oh,
We used
man.
it almost
I
every other
mean,
day.
Yep. Yep.
Ace.
Yeah, Guy, well done, sir.
Thank you,
Kudos to you, bro, because I mean that thing is money.
Absolutely. And I would call that was going to be my stocking stuffer, man. So I'm glad you
Well,
I might need to come live at your house for a stocking stuffer like that, Joe.
I know, rich guy.
Yeah.
our stocking stuffers are more like gifts around here. So yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome item. Hey, RC, you're up next, man. Let's hear what you got on your list, man, for Christmas.
Well, mine's a little bit different. My idea would be that you talk to everybody and you try to get somebody to give you a gift certificate to mount this monster bull that you're going to take this year.
To a taxidermist, huh?
To a taxidermist, yes. So you need
Nice.
a gift certificate to a taxidermist. Of course, you don't ever have, you have all kinds of different things. So a Cabelas gift certificate would be awesome to have.
Let me ask you a question. How much would you put on that Cabelas gift certificate for somebody, bud?
Oh, no less than 100.
And why is that?
Well, because hunters have very expensive taste.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
I mean, giving $50, what's he gonna do? Buy a Coke and maybe a cinnamon roll or something? No, you gotta have some bite there. So, yeah.
I think I saved up my Cabelas gift cards for like 3 years till I got like a certain amount to go in there and get. Yeah.
Well, that's the way I am. I get one every year, and I'm grateful for it, because then when you get it, it's Christmas, so you're not hunting, but you're fixing to go hunting before September, and you're going, oh man, I need this, and so it's like, boom, there it is right there. You don't even have to pay for it. It's already paid for. So I've always liked that. And, I think that giving Cody a shout out, he didn't make it, but I tell you one thing, that when I killed that 375 bull of mine, I was reading a Bible, and it was God's promises, and so I feel like that's something that you could ask for, and it's almost like a Lewis Lamar book. You can read it and be at peace, because when you're out in the woods, you are at peace. And I feel like that's a real big piece that I always carry with me. And it's called God's promises. And you can go through there and figure it out. And it's always been good for me.
Yeah.
So.
It's awesome, man. Yeah, very cool. Duplanche.
Dude, you said 3. You know me. I'm just warning you. And I didn't even include the stuff that I know we're all going to include. All right, so I'm gonna do my best to.
So let me ask you this: out of all the stuff that on that Christmas wish list, what would be the top item that would rock your boat?
Well, the problem with my list is I didn't want to.
Come on, guy.
Well, no. Hold on. Let me caveat this, right?
Allow him to acquiesce.
I didn't want to suggest something for someone to purchase that I have not run extensively myself, because I don't want to lead anybody down the wrong path. So these things that I'm listing are all things that I currently use and have used for some time. So I really don't have a wish list, but these are things that, make my hunt easier, make my hunt more comfortable, things of that nature. So,
okay, we got you. Cool.
I'm going to start with the most expensive one on there, but the SIG Zulu6, man, the stabilized binoculars, absolutely love them. They've been a game changer for me. The weight in them.
Can you say that again? What that was?
SIG Sauer Zulu6.
Zulu6.
Yeah. That's the image stabilized binoculars. And I know, Mondo runs his Swaros and, top notch glass, but man, you put that stabilization in those binos, dude, and it is a flipping game changer.
You remember looking through them, Joe, at camp at the Mooch
Yeah,
Ranch?
I do.
Yeah.
I
Those
never
boys-
got to look through them, I don't think, man.
Those boys had them at the Mooch.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. That matter of fact,
Unbelievable.
the Anthony that was there is a good friend of mine. That's where I got.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he knew you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
But yeah, those SIGs, man, they're flipping game changers, right? I mean, you got a hand occupied or you got one knocked, and I pull that thing on, flip that switch, and it's like I'm sitting there on a tripod. Absolutely love the SIG Zulu6s.
So what kind of powers do those come in, man?
Everything from 8 to 20.
Oh,
Yeah.
And what do you use?
And
I'm
before you-
running the 1242s on my chest rig. I mean, for September on the chest, the 1242s are perfect. And
really clear.
I've never weighed them versus another pair of 10s or 12s, but I would bet that they're as light as 10s. I mean,
Yeah,
they
I
are
understand they're supposed to be pretty light, right?
super, super light battery. I always carry an extra battery in a little, those little pill things you get from, convenience store, and I'll throw extra battery in there. But man, a battery lasts me all September. You know me, I'm a glass.
So do you ever regret the 12s and wish you had the 10s? Because I mean, a lot of people run 10s for everything when they're deer hunting or elk
No,
hunting.
not for the size of those binos. Oh, dang it! Nope, they're on the counter. I mean, I use them on a daily basis out in the backyard.
And I wonder if people don't regret the 12s and go to 10s just because of the shake
size.
when you get into something,
Yeah, no, you get those 12s, and they're going to outperform every set of 10s and every set of 12s you can get. Somebody's out there running 8s. They're 5-year-olds. But yeah, the SIG Zulu6s, man, that's a high recommend right now, because the ones I have are the 1242s, so they're coming out with the 50s. So I think most of the 42s right now are discounted to a point. I've seen them on Optics Planet for really, really good savings. We'll say about 30%, I believe it was. But excellent pair of binos for the money, man. I can't recommend them things enough. I got to fight my wife to get my binos back from her if we're in the field or in the backyard. She wants to sit there and glass. But I mean, full one-handed operation from
crazy.
changing this. Yeah, I mean, everything about them. Second one would be a good, solid sleeping pad, right? If you're like me and you're living out the pack, not really making it back to truck camp, base camp, or doing those one-day stints. You can't beat a good sleeping pad. I run the Thermarest. It's the Neo Air X Lite, and they have an insulated version. I prefer insulated. Just that ground robs you of your heat. Really like that sleeping pad. It holds its air. I've never had problems with the valve. Super easy to inflate with the little bag they have.
And what kind of R value on that insulation on that?
I don't. You know what? I would have to look at it, JoJo. Okay. They're generally pretty low on the R value with the sleeping pads. And there's a trade-off, right? You can get something that's light and packable with a lower R value, but that'll still offer some insulation. Or you can get a big bulky one that has all the R value in the world, but you got to deal with packing it. Yeah, right. And I think that Neo X, it folds up like this, and I got the wide. There's a wider version, depending on how you sleep. That's just the one I use. There's a ton of really, really good pads out there. But, that's one of those things you go into, a shop, mountaineering shop, or, an REI or something, and they have them blown up, and you really have to toss and turn on it and, lay there like you sleep, put it down on, like with REI, they have a hard wood plank bench. And I think that's about the best mimicry I've seen in terms of laying on the ground and stuff. So, super, super good one there. I'm doing more than that.
Well, we got a couple guys missing. So,
right.
But let me ask you a question, because you mentioned that. I know a lot, and I know how important it is to Gil. Now, Gil doesn't do any packing out, over, spike out type stuff like that. But, if he did, he'd want a pillow. Do you do any kind of pillow or anything with yours?
There's a couple of inflatable pillows. I think the The one that I would say if it was a gill would be Climate makes an inflatable pillow that doesn't make much noise. It has I don't know, that might be maybe a 1/4 inch kind of soft foam and fabric quilted around the outside, and it's inflatable and it packs decently. I mean, you could probably roll it to about maybe 8 or 9 inches, 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. For a guy that wants to run a pillow, not a ton of weight, I think I would go with that Climate version of that. Super easy to pull off the cover and clean it, and you don't just. For me, with the pillows, especially some of the packable ones, we're using like a rip stop or things like that, and they just make too much noise. I'd rather not deal with it. Generally, for me, I'll have a hoodie or my
wad it
puffy or
up.
something if I'm not wearing my Tool Aptitude jacket, and I'll wad that sucker up and sleep on that.
Yeah.
I'll pull
Yeah.
the hood off of my initial ascent pack, throw my soft stuff in there or wrap it, and then I'll just crash out on that instead of carrying that pillow. So,
Yeah.
Hardside Hydration, their Swig Rig.
Yes.
I use the heck out of that, man. It's a really good system. It has QD, so I can go, pull off my hose. Kind of ties in with the Catadyne Hiker Pro water filter, and I can QD right on and off of that. Fill my water up and then rock and roll. So that Catadyne is up there with the Hardside. And shout out to my buddy Josh for introducing me to that Catadyne. I usually use the Sauer, and then we were out. He came out, him and his wife Kim come out and hunt with me about that last week of season this year, and he busted that Catadyne out, and man, it clipped right into my QD on my hard side, and I was like, oh, this is the move, and that thing is money. Super easy to use. The Hiker Pro is super lightweight for what it is, and it pumps some water real fast. So that Catadyne Hiker Pro water filter. We talked about inflatables, man. One of the things, being out on the mountain so long, everything starts to be uncomfortable, right? You sit down, you're moving, you're squirming. So I started carrying the Climate inflatable seat. I call it an ass pad, but it blows up about 2 inches, man. Blow that sucker up in 15, 20 seconds. You sit down to, eat a lunch or want to relax, outside the teepee. In the evening after the sun goes down and just kick them up while you eat and whatnot. But man, there's nothing like sitting on something, cushy, just a little bit of reprieve and comfort after a long day on the mountain hunting. And then through these last couple of rifle seasons, excuse me, especially out with the wife, and I do most of the carrying when she's out on her rifle tag or whatnot. And I've been using the bow hitches solution, the tripod sling, because I got to have her shoot off. I don't have to, but shooting off the tripod with her. That bad boy is money.
Game
The way it
changer.
hooks on and off, it hooks on and off, and it's funny because it's so like the bow hitch, and it's almost easier to use because it's just pop and that sucker's out and down, ready to go, and then. For her, because she's so novice that everything has to be what she's used to, right?
Yeah.
So if I get out there and the tripod isn't adjusted to the right height, that animal's not getting shot, right? And if I don't have time to play with everything, so I'm able to actually carry it with the tripod open to her height.
Yeah.
And man, it didn't bother me at all. A little bit of fore pressure, with the head sitting out in front of me. And the back gets up, and I mean, unless we're creeping real close in, I don't have to worry about it bumping and knocking and doing a lot of stuff. So
make sure you explain, I mean, we see it and know what you're talking about, but so if somebody's never seen anything like this, kind of tell them what that is.
Mondo, you got one behind you?
I don't have one with me, but
I wish I had mine in here.
It's very similar. Like, it's difficult to explain like the bow hitch because nobody's ever seen something like it. But we have a strap that attaches to your tripod and ultimately attaches to your backpack just the way the bow hitch does. So look up the bow hitch. Instead of your bow hanging from the end of the strap, it's going to be your tripod. Right. And just like Guy said, the cool thing about it, when I'm guiding hunters, I do the same thing. When we get out of the truck, when we get to start walking, I say, okay, come here, let's set up the tripod where you're going to be standing or where you're going to be kneeling. You get into the position that you're going to be shooting from. You set your tripod accordingly, and then you just lock it into that position. You collapse the legs, and our strap wraps around it, buckles in. You strap it to your backpack, and you go hiking with the tripod sticking under your arm, but you're not carrying it. So if you need to stop in glass, your tripod is under you. You need to stop and use the tripod. All you got to do is slide it and open the legs, and it's good to go. You don't even have to unbuckle it from your shoulder if you're just going to do a quick blasting session. So super unique. You know what? Actually, you're going to see a little bit of shaking. I'm using my tripod to film off of, and I have it right here. So you can see that hanging on there.
Yeah, you can see the clip right there.
That's our tripod sling. So it's as simple as that. You tighten up, tighten up the legs, you wrap around it, and I mean, the bow hitch is awesome. I love the bow hitch. This tripod sling is just so universal to be used, especially for the novice hunter.
So we're talking rifle hunters out there right now for the tripod, right?
I mean, yes and no. Camera guys, right? I mean,
camera guys as well. Right.
Exactly where I'm going at. Yeah.
So many dudes filming hunts, and really, so folks get it right. You have a clip a single loop that goes around a single leg, and then when you deploy it, you also have a loop that goes around all three legs. So you're always secure to it. So you're never really refastening on. You're just gathering the legs, clipping it back so it stays compact as you're in carry. So where if you have a camera on a tripod, you're going to lend the single leg piece of the lanyard higher up towards the camera. So you're setting off some of that weight. Yeah. And then the further back you go, right, you kind of balance that out. And, for me, just carrying a rifle rest on the top for the wife, it's sitting back. I'm going to say like Mondo's tripod, right, with the grips on it. I'm probably a 1/4 inch away from the end of the grip portion, and that sucker's perfectly balanced. And then, once I extend it, a little bit of down pressure because it is sitting I carry it about my lower third of my forearm, and just a little bit of light pressure on that thing, man. And it's money. It's good to go. Yeah.
Thank you, Guy, for that. One thing you guys got to keep in mind is how many times do you stop at a spot where you're like, I should probably use my tripod to glass this spot. However, I don't want to take the 5 minutes to get it out of my backpack to set it up, to just look. So when you have your tripod here, you just pop it out, you use it, you snap it away, and then you're good to go. So it's just a time saver. One less thing you have to worry about not doing. If you're already in a position, you're on the mountain, you think you should glass this area, do it right. Don't half-ass it. So this just gives you an opportunity to do it a little bit faster. When I'm guiding, I keep my shooting tripod on one side, on this side of my load lifters on my right side, and then I keep my tripod for my binoculars on my left, and pull out whichever one I need. If we're going to be shooting, I set up my big tripod with the binoculars or set up my phone and start recording. And then I set up, pop out my shooting sticks and let the guys go to town. So
yeah, I was out hunting with the Bog Pod guys, and they were looking for something similar. And I showed them, and I was like, man, you guys got to, just copy this solution by the bow hitch. They were like, oh, thanks, buddy. It's a great design.
I love it.
I'm trying to help out my man. This one I get.
Little tit for tat.
So let me tell you,
my part, I'm gonna show you Hitch.
What I love about the carry systems, the bow hitch, the solution that you have for the sling, everything like that is people, we always talk about like what you can do with it and how quick you can do it. What I like about it is, man, those cold mornings and stuff like that, the hardest thing about a lot of that stuff, like when you're having to take a tripod or even when you're carrying your bow, is one hand's always out in the doggone cold when you do that. And what I love about that stuff, man, is I can just curl it around and man, my hands are in my pockets. I don't have to worry about that. If I'm doing that tripod, I've got, kind of that hook arm around it right there. My hands are in my pockets, and I'm not switching hands with stuff back and forth all the time. So, no, that's a great deal, man. That's a great device right there. All right, Guy, what else you got?
I'll kill it right there. Again, I'm gonna, shamelessly plug, man, the Any Western fly covers product. But yeah, the Pursuit poncho, and then that Mountainside fly, man. That Mountainside fly comes in so handy.
You don't have to plug, because I'm going to talk about that in my stocking gifts.
There you go.
I want to talk about that as well, man.
But yeah, I can go on all night, man. So I'm gonna wrap it right there. But yeah, that would be I think that was.
We'll have some more things to throw in when we hit
6.
those stocking gifts, bro. So, if you think of something that we stick in there, Gil.
Oh, I could keep going.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I wrote a couple of things down today, but it's been, again, if you're an elk hunter and you hunt out west, we've said this time and time again, I don't know of another innovation that's changed the game for us like the bow hitch has done. Everybody that's an archer should have an opportunity to run that bow hitch, and I'm telling you, it's going to be an absolute game changer for you. Talk about comfort, talking about less fatigue, talk about being able to get to your bow when you need it. I mean, you have both your hands accessible, especially when you're hiking in lava rock and stuff like that, man. And, you need those trekking poles. You can let your bow just hang. And it's been a game changer for us. I mean, absolute game changer. Another thing for me, go ahead.
What I'm going to do, bro, is I've got my bow right here. So, because a lot of people hear about it and they don't know what it is. So the bow hitch is just that right there that mounts right on your bow. You can see how it goes. And I've got a little hook strap that goes right into it that hangs off your pack, and it'll hold that bow right on the side at whatever level you want to set it at. I like mine just a little bit higher, and I always do mine so that my arrows are on the inside towards my body. I've not lost an arrow in 3 years because of the bow hitch, man. Where we got other guys doing other carry systems that end up knocking them off and they never know it. But it's just on there. You need to get it. I have a little way that I can just go back and forward, and mine's off, and I'm ready to shoot. Just like that. And it doesn't add anything to your bow weight-wise. And I'm telling you, man, to be able to put that on and have it stand securely, both hands free, whether you need to, when I packed out my elk, man, I'm wearing the bow hitch. My bow's going with me. I've got elk on my back, and I've got, my sticks in my hand going through, and I'm great, man. Instead of having to find a way to strap my bow to my pack with the animal and everything like that, I have everything set. So that's the bow hitch. Cool.
Yeah, man. It's been an absolute game changer for us. Not because we love him, but because he built the absolute baddest poncho in the country. I have ran it for the last year. It is, it's with me right now. When I'm whitetail hunting, when it comes a little rain shower, it is just so functional, man. You got to have the Pursuit poncho from Western Fly Covers. And I tell you what, I still run the pack covers too. So I love the pack covers. I love it because it keeps my pack protected. We're usually in a buggy somewhere riding. And when you're in that buggy and all that dust and everything else, your pack gets wet and that dust gets on it, it just cakes to it. Well, with the Western Fly Cover, that dust and nothing sticks to your pack. You can wipe it right off, man, and rock and roll. I love this stuff. Guy gave me my first set, and he's been a prince, to deal with and to talk about the stuff that really matters. And what's in your pack, you want to keep dry, man. Most of the time we all carry a puffy or a hoodie or something like that that's in your pack, and you don't want that thing wet. So it's been an absolute game changer, especially for these little squalls that come up. But
look at that.
If you don't know, go to Western. Yeah, exactly.
I got the bow.
If you don't know, go to Western Fly Covers and order your significant other or your elk hunter in you, or you want to be in, be sure to get you a Western Fly Cover Pursuit poncho. Another thing, Joe, for me this year, as everybody knows, I've got sleep apnea. So I need something that'll run my CPAP machine. And when we're off grid, a lot of times we don't have a generator every day, or we're not going to run it every day. I bought a Jackery a power plant system. That Jackery, man, it'll run for 4 days without ever, four nights without me ever having to hook that machine up to charge it. We ran it this year in Colorado. It worked really good on RC.
Yeah.
We didn't hardly have to charge it. We did, but we didn't have to hardly charge it at all. Maybe one time during a 7-day hunt, right? And
Well,
it was ready to rock.
you can even have solar panels for that to charge them as well, right?
You can, and I didn't necessarily need that. The other thing was my Poseidon that I run. It's made by Dark Energy. It's a power plant that powers your phone or whatever else you may need power for. I carry a Poseidon cord, which is pretty indestructible. Nothing worse than having a power plant and not have a cord that'll charge whatever you need charged. And with the e-scouting that we do nowadays and all of the other things, even your InReach or your Zoleo or whatever you may have that's 100% vital for you to stay in touch with everybody and let people know where you're at. It's a safety feature. So the Poseidon's been a big deal for us. It's made by Dark Energy. I used it all my hunting trip, and I never had to charge it at all. It charged my phone every day. Right?
Really?
So
wait.
yeah, every day.
That's quite a statement.
Whole week.
Really?
Lasted a whole week. Yeah.
Wow.
RC was there, and I'd come back to camp, plug it in, it'd be back to 100%. I'd pull it off. I probably did that 5 or 6 times, and I'm not going to say I did it every day because a lot of times we'd turn the generator on too, and we'd charge off of that. But I never had to charge my Poseidon, so I was very, very happy with.
So you're not saying that you recharge the Poseidon every day. You had charged your phone up, but the Poseidon let you charge your phone for a solid week at different times during the hunt?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, if I got down to 30, 40% and I was on the hunt, I just, we're sitting or waiting. I get my pack out and my phone cord and plug it in, and it'd be back to 100% within, an hour. It charges really fast. The cord they have is a fast charging cord. So again, it's very lightweight too, man. It's really thin. It's about maybe that big, and it's really thin, and they make it orange so you don't lay it down and lose it somewhere. It's easy to see when you leave it laying there on the ground. It's been a fantastic piece for me. The other thing is, if you do have a Western elk hunter, one of the cool subscriptions that you can buy is a subscription to Onyx, right? If they don't have Onyx, super easy for them to understand the mountain. They'll never be scared again getting out there about being able to get back to where they're from or understand the topography. There's so many new features coming out with Onyx now with 3D and everything else that's out there. There are other programs out there, but really enjoy the Onyx features, and I use it all the time, especially on the wind direction stuff. And also it's got shading now where you can see where, shade's going to be, north facing slope, this, that, and the other. And you can see the prevailing winds. It's been a game changer for me the last year. So that subscription would be something that I would recommend anybody to get their elk hunter.
For so many different reasons, man. If you don't have Onyx or some type of GPS app like Onyx, you're really, really hampering yourself in a lot of ways, because there's so many ways that tool can help you during the hunt. It can help you for scouting for the hunt. It can, before the hunt. It can help you when you have an animal down. That elk I talked about earlier that we had the bad hit on, it took us actually 36 hours before we found the animal, and we were able to grid and mark, track ourselves and know exactly what areas that we had been through and be able to show each other and send the tracks to each other so that we could end up going into different places. It was huge, man, in finding that animal. So, and then we were able to put a half-mile figure on that we were going to go out. They have a new thing right now on that was on other apps before that I really like, and that's their rangefinder they have on that. That basically you can now, find a distance to an area. And I'll tell you where I've actually used that feature for is if you have a rifle hunter and you got snow coming down and you try to use a rangefinder, you get nothing,
work.
man. You get nothing.
Work.
But you pull up that Onyx and you just open it up to the map where you got that satellite and you can see where you're at. You aim it in the direction that you're looking at with that rangefinder right there. And dude, it'll tell you, you can tell where that animal's pretty much standing out there. Where is the tree line? And you'll be able to tell exactly, oh, that's 200 yards, man. That's 250 or that's 300 yards. Right. So I've used it in cases with light rain. I've used it with snow when we just couldn't get a read on a rangefinder with a hunter. So it comes.
So you need to upgrade your rangefinder, buddy.
What's that?
You need to upgrade your rangefinder.
Don't use a range.
They got all kind of new technology. You hit fog or snow mode, and boom, and you hit it. You can connect your rangefinder, like I'm using the SIG, and it'll pinpoint that location on my Onyx too.
Wow.
Right. So I can be in fog mode, have all that crap, and it works in thick. I was so impressed.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, and then say you got a shot on an animal, right? Going back to Tracy's thing, right? I got a shot on an animal. Hey, we're waiting and we see him running off. Boom. I can tag that spot that I last saw him across the ridge, hit that, put that waypoint on my Onyx, make my way over there, and then, hey, this is exactly where it meant. It is, upgrade, JoJo.
Oh,
put that on your Christmas list.
Yeah.
So what is that called?
It's the SIG. Here, I'll show you right now. Hold on.
The Onyx is there's so many different ways that's going to help you out, man. But the only thing I would tell and I'll give you a down point sometimes with Onyx is I see sometimes people will go ahead and do pre-scouting and they'll go, well, I think this is going to be a good spot for elk right here, or I think it's going to be a good spot right here. And then they get out of the buggy or they get out of the vehicle and they do a go-to on the waypoint and they just start humping it to try to get to that because that's where they think the elk are going to be. And a lot of times they just blow through country that has elk in instead of hunting through the country. So that's just one thing that I want to kind of throw out there as well, is just because you put a waypoint that there should be elk there doesn't mean you got to get your butt right there. You're still in, elk country. Make sure that you hunt towards that area, man. Yeah.
So it's
one more thing to keep in mind with the Onyx. Sorry, guy, but just if you get this as a gift, you have to learn how to use it. Like it's not something you can just open up on your phone and say, okay, like. You have to spend time with this app to play with it. So do it in the summer. You can do it anywhere.
YouTube tutorial too.
They're everywhere. But make sure that you're not relying on it. Number one, because your battery could die. You could not know how to use. I mean, it can hurt you as much as it can help you. So you still have to pay attention. But it is amazing, and I use it every day.
Yeah, I always still have a compass with me. And like Gil said, man, you got to have your cable connection. You got to have those battery backups so that if something happens to your phone that you're ready for that. That's the type of thing. And Gil, when you talked about your CPAP, that's something that a lot of people never talk about. I don't think I've ever heard that in being prepared on an elk hunt, man, is making sure that you have something so that you can run a CPAP, because I know that there are a lot of dudes out there with that same issue that they've got to use a CPAP in order to sleep good, or to actually make sure they don't die in their sleep, man, right?
Man, dude,
So,
sleep is the most important thing for your recovery.
yeah.
And I mean, we don't get a lot of it up there. And if you don't get good sleep, it's just wearing you out even more, you know. I mean, we average about 6 hours of sleep a night, maybe, you know, 5 to 6. And if you got to pack out all night, you might not get 2 or 3, you know.
And if you have to
so
run a generator, it keeps everybody else pissed at you too. So some of those power backs are kind of nice to have, right? So
yeah,
what's
no,
that?
the power thing is,
It's huge. It is, man. Very huge.
yeah,
Big
What
deal.
what is that
Yeah.
guy? What's it called?
So that's the Kilo 5, the 6 hour Kilo
Yeah.
5, 7 to 25 mil.
Okay.
And that sucker has the snow mode. I mean, it'll, like I said, it'll link up to Onyx, and
That's
and
cool,
point
man.
you-
Make sure
point
that
you
you
a
put
spot.
that on the list as well, so I can put it in our notes. Okay.
Will
In our
do.
show notes.
I got two more things, Joe, and I'll let y'all move on. One of the others is everybody wants to elk hunt. And if you want to elk hunt New Mexico, this is a really cool gift. You can go to ElkBrosAdventures.com and you can get your elk hunter a subscription to win one of our hunts that's coming up, where you're going to hunt with the Elk Bros and their coaches in camp. And you will have an opportunity to win a hunt. And it's probably better odds of doing that than just about anywhere else you're ever going to find, right? Any
Absolutely
lottery
better.
draw, do what you got?
I said absolutely better odds.
Yeah, way better odds. So you got to go to elkbros.com to check it out. It should be live here in the next few days to check out that subscription. It'll be really cool gift to give, you know, your significant other or your wife or whomever it may be that you want to put in for the subscription. Joe will talk a little bit more about it, but I think it'd be a really cool gift to give somebody, to have an opportunity to be drawn for an elk hunt with us. And it'll be really cool. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, man, is I started a relationship. We have started a relationship with Mindel Boots, right? Mindel Shoe Boots USA. I ran Mindels back in the day. Carl Gamage is the first one to introduce me, and RC Knox were the first ones to introduce me to Mindel boots. And you know, Cabelas quit carrying them, so they kind of fell on the wayside, but they are back in a big way, and I absolutely love it. It's a full leather boot. I have feet like an ogre, yes, like Shrek. So I can't wear narrow toe box boots, and a lot of the big name boots don't have wide fit boots, right? So they make a 13 double or triple E, and it's the most comfortable pair of boots I've ever put on my feet, right? Yeah, the box. My wife says to wear is the box, right? It is, and I can't take credit for the whole system, because Guy Duplanche himself right there introduced me to a sock system that's called Woo-Roo. Their merino wool sock is ergonomically built for each foot. It's probably the best sock I've ever put on my feet. Coupled with that Mindel Perfect Hiker, crazy comfortable. Can wear it in all types of different situations. Very, very waterproof. Probably the most waterproof boot I've ever worn. So if you want to get your husband or your significant other a great pair of boots to be on the mountain with, take a look at Mindel USA. But the company is now out of the United States that are marketing Mindel boots. The Mindel boots are phenomenal. The quality is really good, and they're back in a big way. And the guys are making a splash here in the USA. And I know all of you got your own boots that you love, but if you get an opportunity to check out the Mindels, Big O really likes them. They keep his big ogre feet in really good shape.
Pizza box feet.
Look, if you guys have ever been on the mountain, y'all know your feet's important. It's one of the most important things in the world. If your feet hurt, you ain't going out. You know,
Right.
you're going to try to stay in camp and rest them up and stuff like that.
One thing I want to throw out there too that you said, Gil, man, is Gil said that we had a relationship, and I wanna kind of clarify and define that, like, because we have a relationship with Armando, and we have a relationship with Armando and Bo Hitch because of the person Armando is. It was the person that actually helped me find the bow hitch, and then after trying that, I was like, wow, because really, and you can talk to anybody that we have a relationship with. If I don't like it, I ain't going to use it. If I ain't going to use it, I ain't going to tell anybody else about it, right? So that's just how we run, man. I mean, we don't want to steer any of you in the wrong way. And when we say we have a relationship, yes, with some of these people, we get discounts, just like a lot of you do. I mean, a lot of you guys go in and get into some of their programs and different things, get the same discounts we do, but we're still buying this stuff, and we're buying this stuff when we could buy other stuff in other programs. So when, this vest that I'm wearing right now, this is a 2.0 vest. We have a relationship with 2.0, and I buy this stuff from them, and I ended up buying a second one in a solid color because I like it so much, man. So I just want you guys to understand, when we say relationship, ain't nobody paying us to do this stuff. Ain't got no dollars coming in. Our money's going out. We might get a discount, but our money's going out, and we don't mind doing that. Duplanche and his stuff right there. I mean, that Pursuit poncho, I worked with Guy on that prior to it coming out, and I mean, he knocked it out of the park with that. And Guy knows me. Everybody in this group knows me, man, that, I don't know if you want to call me cheap or frugal or whatever, man, but if I'm going to spend my money on something, it's got to be something that I'm going to doggone use, right? Or I ain't going to spend money on it. That's just how I am. And the stuff that he has, and we'll talk about, I know that you're done, so I'm going to kind of give my list here, Gil, and I'm going to actually show some people a few different things and talk about some different things that I liked with what that I have. And one of them, I told you earlier that my daughter sent me a gift, right? And I was, generally when your daughters give you a gift for hunting, you smile and you thank them a lot. You give them a hug and everything like that, and then it goes in the closet, right? So, but this was one that they
that's really cool.
got for me, and it's called a BioLite. It's a BioLite Solar Home 650 Plus, and it has a main power unit. And then it has 3 different lights with cords that go to that unit. It has a solar panel that went outside our tent on the ground out there. And we were able to put one of these lights inside the tent. And it has a switch with 3 different levels of light that you can get. One of them went outside of our tent that was motion detector. So if we had to get up in the middle of the night and go, I don't know about y'all, man, but they teach my age and stuff. I got to hit that John at night, man, and you hate to be stumbling out. It'd come on right away out there. And then we had one went a little further underneath of our pop-up that we had out there, and we could pop that thing open, man. So I went without a single can of propane being used for lights.
Nice.
For, multiple days, which saved me a lot of money in that. And that thing just recharged itself every time. That was a game changer for camp for me. So you could plug in, also it has stuff that you can plug in your phones or any other USB thing and charge it like that too. So I wanted to make sure that I told you guys about that.
BioLite makes a good product. They have I said BioLite makes some good products. They have some smaller systems too.
Have you ever used one before?
Yes, sir.
Cool. I had never even seen it before, and when my daughter sent that to me, I was like, wow,
man, well thought out gift, Joe.
Yeah,
she put some thought into that.
They really did, man. Oh, and it's $150. Okay.
Yeah.
That system was $150. It stays in that box, and man, it goes in my truck everywhere now, man. So it's a great thing. And I'll tell you the one thing that I put on here as well, that I've had it, I want to say 5 or 6 years now, bomb proof. and I'm able to communicate with my wife. I'm able to communicate with all the guys I hunt with. They, you know, we were in a situation this year when we were with a bunch of hunters and broke down, and all I did was I got on my Zoleo and I sent a message to RC at camp many miles away. He jumps in a truck, comes and rescues us, man, and we're back in camp. I mean, he was there in a half hour because he got that message right away. But that Zoleo satellite system hooks on the back of my pack. The battery lasts on that thing forever, and it interfaces right with your phone. Let's say that your phone goes out and you're in an emergency situation, it has an SOS button on there, but that Zoleo device, and that's the one Gil has right there. All of us bought that, Gil, probably how many years ago? 4?
Yeah, at least 4 years ago, man.
And I had mine probably 2 years before y'all bought yours, right?
Yeah, and I carry an inReach. I had a situation where this didn't work, my phone didn't work, so I got an inReach as well. So I kind of double up on the stuff. Guys got one too.
Right.
I doubled up on it just to have another extra safety layer. But I absolutely love the Zoleo. It's getting easier to use, and now that I understand you can turn it down and turn it up to where you can move the message receiving to automatic or every 12 minutes, every 6 minutes. If you put it on automatic where it updates all the time, it'll drain that battery pretty quick. So that's one of the things that we learned, huh, Joe, is
but
you
not
don't have to wait for message.
It'll still last all day, even in that mode right there.
Yeah.
But if you have it in a delayed message mode,
last 2 or 3 days.
And what I mean by that is it'll check for messages every 10 minutes, right? Instead of you getting it instantly like that. But if you end up in a situation where y'all need to communicate, being in that, where something's going on, you just put it in that immediate mode and you can get that stuff happening between you, right? So
we broke up.
You would think with all the tech and everything, I mean, it's great, but right, Mondo kind of mentioned it earlier, knowing how to use it. Gil's talking about it now. But man, as much as I could appreciate not having to buy batteries, something like the Zoleo or the inReach, and it sure would be nice to have, an option to pull out a pack and drop in a couple AAAs, drop in a couple of AAs, especially if you're not going back to camp, right? I mean, it's hard to do it, man. Joe, Gil was talking about his Poseidon. I was checking it out.
I carried my Poseidon, and it'll charge this no problem.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, 7 days, 8 days phone plus your your comms, so it just becomes a kind of a kick in the butt, man. That's the risk with all that stuff.
I think one of the things is it wouldn't be as bomb proof as it is from the weather and stuff. Like mine stays out on my pack, rain, snow, everything, man. And I think this
thing's 4 years old, man. It's been beat to hell and back.
Yeah.
And I'm tough on gear. And I mean, it's on my backpack that I bow hunt with right now that I'm in the whitetail woods. And most of the time I've got a little bit of cell signal. Well, what if I don't? I mean, I fire that thing up and go get to whomever I need, and down here, we're in a situation where we're real close to the border and things can get sideways pretty quick down here, so I need to be able to get to, law enforcement if I need them, border patrol if I need them. So it's important. And I'm here a lot of times by myself. I'm here during the week or whatever where I've been working in the field. So I want to be able to, communicate. And, I used to run a satellite phone, but man, the minutes just got so expensive.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive on there.
And they wouldn't let you just buy 200 minutes. You'd have to buy 1,000 minutes.
You're almost better getting a
1,500
Starlink, for what that costs, what I mean? So,
man, they got the Starlink Mini now. That sucker's going to be with me next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We looked at that for our elk camps, where we're running our camps this year. But, I just like having everybody disconnected, man. So we'll have something for emergencies, but that's about it. And so the other thing too that I have on my list is my 2.0 layering system, because what I did with this year in my layering system, y'all, Joe Jill, you probably discovered merino with First Light a couple of years ago. So I had experience with merino. When I went to test their 2.0 stuff, it was unbelievable. Their merino and the different weights and stuff they had, the way it went together. But my system when I elk hunt is I have a 150 layer, I have a 250 hoodie layer that I have, and I have my vest that I have one of these. This one's in solid. I have one in camo. And one other thing, I really like the neck gaiter that they have with that. And I keep their puffy inside my pack, always there, and I've had to use that puffy in emergency situations. So I like to hammock out. I like to hammock camp out, and that's where I use the Western. Man, I think that's the Mountainside. Is that the Mountainside that
For your
fits
hammock,
my-
that's the Quest Hex Fly.
Which one is it?
The Quest Hex Fly.
The Quest Tech Fly, right? The Mountainside's the largest one.
No, the Quest Hex is the largest.
West
That
Texas.
one's lengthening at about 11 feet.
There you go. So I use that Questex with my hammock, and man, everything's covered, pulls out, and it's lightweight. It was actually lighter than the hammock I had before, so I was really thrilled with that. And a lot of the make part of it I really like. So, but my system, between my puffy and what I have here, I ended up sleeping in my hammock and sleeping good at night. If I got cold, I put that puffy on and I was really good, man, and the way it fits. So my system, my 2.0 system is the 150, 250 hood, vest, and puffy inside the pack. That takes care of everything. I get out first thing in the morning, and you guys, you don't think it's cold during September? I got something to tell you. It's doggone cold, man, because
Yeah, especially at 11,000 feet.
yeah, and what's great about the layer system is, man, if I get too warm with my vest, it's off. I fold it, it straps. I mean, I just roll it up. It straps on the outside of my pack. I got my 250. The hood comes over on top. It camos me up as well. I just love this system. And this system kept me from using a whole box of clothes, right?
Oh, wardrobe. Yeah.
A whole wardrobe, man. In fact, I'm a little ticked at myself for carrying all of that. It's like we feel, it's kind of like a security blanket. You feel like, oh, I might need this, or I might, and I just brought back everything still clean that I never used, right? So that's my system as far as that goes. Now, Britches, I do like the 250 merino for underneath my Britches in case I need something for a cold morning. But I really, on the outside of it, I'll use a lot of different Britches that I like to hunt in. I like their merino Britches, but I like different stuff. If I'm taking care up here, my legs really don't get that cold. So it's usually my top that I have to deal with there. And I'm always having to deal with different temperatures, man. I will tell you the other thing that's a great gift that I actually got loaned to me at camp this year. And that was the Big Buddy heater. If it has 2 panels on there. We kept it inside our tent. And again, for you guys that don't think it gets cold in September, I mean, we had 20-degree nights up there in September, right?
We did in Colorado. Yep.
Yeah, man. And that double heater on there, you can turn it down, you can turn it up, you can dry stuff in your tent, you can get in there when you're chilled. And if you've never been chilled and can't warm up, it sucks, man. So you get in there when you're a little chilled. And when I get chilled, it has nothing to do with my clothing. It has to do with my energy. Has to do with my,
You burn a lot more calories when you're
my
cold.
calories, man. I've just really soaked myself out. So that's something to think about too when you're out there. But that double Big Buddy heater was the bomb, RC, that you lent me, and we hooked that up to a propane can, and we had that thing throughout the week there, and that was a nice piece of comfort inside of our tent there. We make
Joe's
sure
right. It was cold.
Yeah.
RC and I had to scrape ice off
I saw the opposite.
almost every day.
absolutely,
Almost
man.
every day.
For my stocking gifts that I have there, my favorite knife that I use is the Outdoor Edge Razor Light. I don't like a long blade. I'm not much for carrying a solid blade knife because a lot of the weight on some of those are really heavy. There's some of them that aren't, that are out there. But I really like that Razor Light. It's light. It's got the replaceable blades. If I don't have to worry about taking any time to sharpen anything, if I don't want to, I do sharpen those. I usually hit those on metal, when I'm using them to continue getting the life out of those. I don't just like to switch blades out right away. I'm not that type of person. Again, I'm pretty frugal about that kind of stuff. So, and
I was going to say, this boy, he's sharpening RBK blades, boy. That is next level penny pinching, son.
I'm sorry, man. It's just how
you get a dozen blades for $5.50, $6.
That's just how I am, man. My wife saves Ziploc bags. That'll just tell you what kind of you have here, man. But I'll tell you,
Joe,
yeah, we use the Cool Whip for Tupperware.
Yeah.
Cool Whip jug.
Yeah. What's that?
I just wanted to clarify for some of the younger listeners. Can you explain britches?
Isn't that thing you cross to get over a body of water or the open air between landmasses?
Britches.
Pants.
They were britches over there.
Pants. Oh,
Pants. Pants.
We're talking about pants, everybody.
For those people that didn't grow up in quality America, it's pants, right?
Okay. All right. This is good.
You're hilarious, dude.
Look at the pants that we run are phenomenal, Joe. The climbs and the aptitudes.
Yeah.
I didn't get to run them in Canada because I was 350 pounds. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, I've been running the climbs and the aptitudes all year. And, we got some more to cut off of me. But at the end of the day, these are the most comfortable pair of pants I've ever worn. And Guy, I love the aptitudes. I just got to have some cold weather to run them because they are hot.
Man, that I didn't put 2.0 on my list because I saw everybody else's list.
Yeah.
And but
yeah.
That you
Game
guys
changer.
know how I feel about the aptitude pant. I mean, that is the best mountain pant I have worn in my hunting career, bar none, period, point blank. You ain't heard of 2.0, you probably should. And I've run every top tier brand under the sun. And these pants, man, they're phenomenal. And I wear them I wore them all Western Hunt Fest season last year. I wear them every shooting event through the summer. I wore them all September. I'm wearing them now in this 4th rifle season. Just a phenomenal pant. They're built perfectly. The articulation,
they have the antimicrobial stuff in it to prevent
polygene.
I mean, my britches that I wore, I wore the climb for.
You can wear them 5-6 days and never have no problem. 7 days.
I wore them for 10 days, man, and they never stunk.
I haven't washed my aptitude pants since September 1. Like them suckers are sitting here ready to go tomorrow morning. And they ain't been in the wash cycle.
Yeah, it's crazy how good that is. Now, my last thing on my list for your stocking stuffer, and Guy kind of talked about this earlier about being able to sit down. And me, I like to nap and sleep when I'm out there. But man, I don't know about y'all, man, but when you go sleeping on the ground, you got to kind of work everything to be able to get just right sometimes, right? And then as soon as you start falling asleep, you feel those ants crawling in your leg pants and crawling down your neck. And one of
leg bridges. How do you say that? Leg britches?
Leg britches.
Leg.
Your britches leg.
My leg pants and my britches, man.
My britches leg.
Leg
Britches
pants.
leg.
Yeah, I can get real redneck if you want to. I mean, my name is Enos P. Coltrane. So the one thing that I really like that Manano introduced me and actually bought it for me for a gift is I have I have an Eno. It's just an Eno small lightweight hammock, and I mean super lightweight. I mean it might be 6-7 ounces, and it goes in my day pack all the time. It's in there, and if I find some place that I just need to kick it for the day, I have some straps, hook. I go in and I can take a nap. I can sit there and read a book. I'm off the ground. I'm comfortable. I can sit there I can use it for glassing an area, just staying there. In fact, I remember one time we sat in one spot overlooking, and I just got in my hammock and watched it all day long over there. So it is, and
Actually called in a bull while y'all were in your hammock.
yeah, I mean, it's just a great thing. Man, it's brought me a lot of comfort out there, and it's kept me off the ground. It's really cool. You don't have to worry about the bugs and stuff. So that's that Eno lightweight hammock, and they're
The
very,
Eno single nest.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
That's the single
very,
nest.
very inexpensive too, man. So
The best thing with the Eno hammock is I shouldn't say the best thing, right? Is the amount of freeboard you have versus other brands of hammock. Right. So you get a little bit of breeze or the sun's beating down you, man, you reach over and you can literally flop that thing, cross it over, get some coverage to get out of the wind, provide a little bit of shade. I have a couple different brands. Won't say their names. They're inferior for the most part because of that freeboard that on that single nest has. So yeah, that's a solid pick, JoJo.
yeah, and Manano made me just out of paracord. He just made me some paracord wraps that have a loop in them. We just find a tree, put it around there, put it through there, and then just click inside those loops, man. And it's very lightweight. It's very convenient. It's just a super way, to spend a day in the woods. If you need to take a nap, you need to kick it. It's really cool. So, all of that other stuff that people, talk about, headlamps and different things like that. These are kind of the odd things that I tried to introduce to you, when I talk about the Solar Home 620, when I talk about the Eno, the BioLite and stuff like that. And I really wanted to share with you my layering system that I use, because I just so believe it was just incredible, man. So that's pretty much, anybody, did y'all think of anything to throw in a stocking that you might have missed, or?
I would, I had on my list, your guys' calls, man. I believe it's the Burnham Red. I use that all season. I used the Sugar last year, and I think the Burnham, for whatever reason, my frame and the way I blow, that sounded incredible. I really enjoyed using it this year. That's a stocking stuffer that you can get for yourself. You can get the soloist bugle tube, get a couple of reeds, and you have all summer to learn how to use them and to make sure you're proficient, because it's almost like the Onyx. If you don't use it, it does you no good. I have a couple buddies who carry around a bugle tube and they never pull it out. So if you don't know how to use what you get for Christmas, then don't ask for it. But your reeds are incredible. I'm really enjoyed using those this year. So that's in my mind a fantastic stocking stuffer.
Appreciate it, Manu.
Thanks,
yeah,
man.
you guys killed it with that. So and like you said, dude, relationships are one thing. If you don't use it, you wouldn't speak on it. But right. I have videos. I have the proof is in the pudding. Like that, it's good stuff.
Thank you, man. Oh, and I did think of one other thing too. There's an app out there called Cut Right, and what I see is a lot of people prepare to hunt, and they do everything to hunt. And a lot of times people don't prepare for success, and they get an animal down and they don't know what to do with it, and they struggle with that. End up. And I don't even want to say butchering it, because a butcher does a better job with that, right? And there is an app called the Cutrite, CUTRITE app that, will walk you through how to take down, cut, butcher, and even cook. And it's, I mean, for what you get on that, it's a no-brainer on the cost, man. I think it's like $14 or something like that, I want to say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have a butcher in your pocket on your phone,
Yeah.
man. So that's a really cool thing too. So,
I mean, that should be an essential, right? Is having that skill, even if you're going to take it to, a butcher or processor in the house, but being able to get it there, without wasting
Clean.
a bunch of meat.
yeah.
Clean.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. I think Mike does a really, really, really phenomenal job on that Cut Right mobile app.
Yep. Absolutely.
Joe, we had Tom Roth being a guy had Tom Roth, and he'd killed his first bull, and he was like, I don't even know where to start with this giant thing. It wasn't even that big a bull, right? I mean, it was a nice bull, but at the end of the day, he was like, oh my gosh. And we were real patient with him because he didn't want us to touch that sucker. He said, man, I'm serious. He goes, I want to do this all myself. And then he looked up at me and God went, God, I'm glad y'all are here. He said, man, I'd be lost, but if you have that app, I mean, it will help you not struggle, to me and Guy, it's old news, and we've done a million of them. But at the end of the day, for Tom, if we weren't there, he would have had a hard time.
Yeah. And I recommend it's the same thing. It's just like that app, just Onyx. Don't get it and put it in your pocket and say, well, I'm good and I have it, because then you're going to be wasting time. Use it and watch it and look at it so you have an idea. Then it just becomes a refresher if you need to go and look at it, right, while you're doing something, or you're trying to figure out how to do a cut when you're actually butchering and stuff. So,
I mean, if a guy is paying attention and listening to the episode, or a gal, and they ain't heard the value in everything that we've put on these lists, and the thing that remains true through all of it is know how to use, know what you're doing before you hit the field. The layering system, you're shooting in it, right? Onyx, you're knowing what to do with it. The Cut Right mobile app, so you could process that animal. Joe brought up the RBK knife, and I probably should have said it then, right? It's a little bit different. The blades are scalpel sharp. They're scalpel blades, right? Know how to cut with them. Know the safety that you got to have with those versus a fixed blade, conventional knife. So, learn all year long, and then you're prepared in the field. You're safe. You're comfortable. Your hunt's good and pleasurable. You get out there and you don't know how to use this stuff, man. You put yourself in a safety situation if you cut yourself wrong, or you get off course and lost. I mean, there's so many factors with it. So there's some pearls in there if you're listening. Couldn't let it go without saying,
And,
I think I'd be remiss too, Joe, without talking about having a good emergency kit while we're out, right? I mean, that's something great that you can put in somebody's stocking stuffer. Have an emergency kit in your pack. I mean, it's huge. The stuff that Joe put together for us in Adventure Camp this year was absolutely amazing. I know Guy runs a really good emergency kit. You guys can email us if y'all want to know what our emergency kit looks like to put together. One, it's pretty simple to do and not super expensive. If you go buy all the pieces to put together.
As compared to going out and buying a kit online. Absolutely not. And it's actually more functional. A lot of times you spend a lot of money for a couple of real emergency items with a lot of fluff, and what we did was pack it with emergency items, with the blood clot, with the sutures, with the tourniquets, all of the major stuff that you need. And we did that for the price of what somebody paid for one that has, and less than that actually. So pretty cool.
Yeah. Now I wanted to make sure that people knew that, we do carry safety equipment with us, especially, medic kit.
Fellas, I just want to tell y'all, by the time this comes out, and I don't know if we're on the 20th right now. I believe it's the following, not tomorrow, but the following Thursday, we're at Thanksgiving. And I just want to tell you, before, in case we don't see or hear from each other, how thankful I am for each and every one of you. In fact, we got a lot of brothers that aren't with us on here right now. Our circle is really growing with our staff and with our coaches, incredible people. But I'm so thankful for you guys, man. And I hope you have an incredible time with your family. Enjoy them, and it won't be long. We'll start getting ready for that next season, man. So real thankful for you guys, man.
Likewise.
You guys keep checking www.elkbrosadventures.com. Then to go live. Y'all come hunt with us. It's gonna be an epic year next year. I mean, we went from zero to hero real quick. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. And these guys are what make us tick, man. I mean, the guys that are on this panel, they're guys we ride the river with every day. And I love them, and they're my brothers, and even the ones that aren't here. Chico's not here with us, the Mafia's not here, but man, these are the guys we ride the river with day in and day out. So we can't thank our listeners enough for what we do. And it's been an absolute awesome idea to have this table to talk about all of the gift ideas and
yeah, I think he said it is a good idea to.
Oh, my bad.
I appreciate that, Gil, man. Yeah, I when I had somebody that was asking just the other day, and it was actually asking about bows, because now a lot of people are looking to get things for Christmas and stuff like that. And instead of us just going with that, I thought, we would try doing something. And we need to do that sometime. We need to really talk about, for somebody that is just starting out in archery, what, how a new person that wants to become an elk hunter or a bow hunter, or how they can do that, what kind of equipment, and kind of steer them in a direction. So we'll have a show that we do that. All right,
sounds good.
Yeah.
Close us up.
Joe, if you don't mind, I'd like to just let everybody know I had a funny interesting conversation with Joe as we were kind of preparing for this, and said, Joe, what's something that you can use both hunting and in your regular daily life? And he said, depends.
He sure could.
Depends on.
That's why he's having that motion sensing light.
Yes, sir.
That way you don't have to get up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and y'all weren't on the air when I told Armando, man, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I am old, and I was back there during the 60s, and yes, there was that time that I got stoned and I breeded with a critter that most people wouldn't, and it made me always wonder after that, Armando, are you my son?
Yeah, you're the man, Joe. I wouldn't be you if I didn't love you, bro.
Oh, I love it.
Armando is the goat, so we know what animal Joe was having that intimate
exactly.
encounter with.
Yes, sir.
Actually, it was a peacock, man. But
Peacock.
you
Guys, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, rate, and review us. You got to go to Apple Podcasts or iTunes to review us, and be sure to include your name and where you're from to get in on our Spin a Winner Wheel drawing. And you can check out more elk hunting content at ElkBros.com. And I would be remiss to say we're going to start we have our own outfitter business in New Mexico. You need to check out www.elkbrosadventures.com and check out all the cool stuff Joe has got on the site. It is absolutely awesome. The testimonials, the view of the ranches that we'll be hunting, it is absolutely dynamite. Y'all got to go and check it out. That's elkbrosadventures.com. Just a reminder, if any of our listeners would like their questions answered on the show, just send your questions to joe@elkbros.com. And like we say down here in the Lone Star State, husbands, kiss your wives, wives, kiss your husbands, hug your babies, keep your broadhead sharp and your powder dry, and we'll see you next week right here on Blue Collar Elk Hunting.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Peace.
Happy Turkey Day,
Thanksgiving,
folks.
everybody.
Thank you.
And for all our grinders out there, here's some more music from our brother Tony Wintrip to close out our show.
T-Dub.
I get my goods from the river and the woods. I get my highs climbing a mountainside. I get my life on I'm family strong. In the fall, I'm gonna get my elk on. At daylight, I'm sitting just right, about to let an arrow fly. I get my goods from the river and the woods. I get my goods from the river and the woods. I get my bait on, I'm metalhead strong. Land a glass rod, get my drift on. At the tail out, he's cranking on the tip. Boy, I'm about to rip some lips. Yeah. I get my goods from the river and the woods. I get my highs climbing a mountainside. I get my boots on, I'm UA strong, going way deep with my pack on. And base camp with the basin view, and mountain house meals gonna get me through. I get my goods from the river and the woods. I get my goods from the river and the woods. Now I get my goods from the river and the woods. I get my highs under a starlit sky. I get my life on, American strong. I'm living off the land all year